Hey, last one. We're going over the final of the Heisei Gamera with Gamera the Brave. This has no connection to the trilogy we went over, but this should be fun. I mean, okay, a little quick summary. Gamera dies at the beginning, and throughout it all, it's a baby Gamera we see grow up. Now, when you hear that, that sounds ridiculous. That sounds very 60s, doesn't it? You know, the 60s kaijus. You know, very campy. But it's done through the filter of this Heisei, you know, this trilogy we went through in a good way. It's like taking the old and putting it through the filter of the new and still coming up with something that's a lot lighter and softer.
Yeah, it's just like...
I mean, does that intrigue you?
It does intrigue me. It sounds like it could be a lot of fun and something to laugh at.
Exactly. So we'll see you on the other end, and yeah.
The giant turtle Gamera, certainly one of the most controversial subjects of our time. Earlier in our program, you stated the belief that Gamera could in fact exist.
That decision was made by the Commander-in-Chief. I do know that if Gamera exists, our world is about to face a calamity of enormous proportions.
Hey guys, we just got done with Gamera the Brave, and go ahead.
Oh man, it was great!
I hate to say it, it's better than Iris.
Yeah, it really was.
I mean, it's a throwback to the show era, which she hasn't seen, but you could already tell from the vibe, right?
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit more Saturday morning cartoon kind of thing.
But the kids were great. Good lord, the kids characters. You have Toru, Mai, Katsuya and Ishimura. Yeah, we can actually remember their names.
Yeah.
Because you actually had an impact. Okay, it starts 30 years ago in 1973, so around the time of the last proper Gamera movie, not counting Super Monsters, and Gamera's fighting a bunch of Gyaos, and he blows up. Mm-hmm. He just self-destructs, which isn't a one-time deal. They actually keep that around, but then 30 years later, this young boy Toru, who, I gotta say, he was cynical at the beginning.
Yeah.
His mom died in a car crash a year before. He's like, my mom didn't die and go to heaven. She's a bunch of bones buried underground. I'm like, Jesus, kid!
Yeah, that's really depressing.
But as it goes on, he eventually finds this little egg that hatches and becomes Toto, a baby Gamera. And you were squeeing the whole time.
Oh, yes, it was so cute. I couldn't help it. It was so cute.
Yep, it was so adorable. And we see him grow up, and it's basically an origin story for Gamera. As over a few days, each day he keeps getting bigger. Like, first one is like this to this, but then from this to huge, big, like an adult turtle. And all that, and he brings some of his friends in, and his neighbor. I gotta say, I love when we first see Toto flying.
Oh yeah,
he's so adorable. It's like, whoosh. And then when Mai, again, she's a neighbor, she says, and she's like, ah, and he's like, ah.
Yeah.
That was adorable. Now, Mai, when we're introduced to her, it's so cute. Basically, she got a new manga book in, the latest one, and he kind of like, can I look at it? I don't like your attitude. My prince and my lady, you know, things like that.
That's the spirit.
Yeah, exactly. And then later on, then she starts acting a little weird then, you know what I mean? When she sees that, first it's like, you should send him back. Toto doesn't want to leave. And that's so cute too. It's just like he keeps crawling after him like, I'm coming. But then later on, it's made very clear why. Mai is going to have an operation, a heart operation, so it could go either way. And she's afraid that she knows about Gamera. She knows what could happen, and she basically is afraid that Toru could get, caught up in the things, and she might die in the surgery and won't be able to help him. That's a great friendship.
That is a really great friendship. Their friendship is definitely one of the things that stands strongest in the movie.
Exactly. But then as it goes on, we're eventually introduced to a new monster, Zesda, who, I'll be honest, better than Iris.
Yeah.
They don't ever explain the origin, although from what I've heard, he consumed a bunch of the Gyaos remains. But either way, though, we didn't need it.
Yeah, it's just like...
A monster comes out of nowhere. A monster comes out of nowhere. There's nothing mysterious. It's all mystery, but at least give me all mystery than a bunch of random theories thrown together. And yeah, and then overall, as it goes on, it then becomes a case where Toto has to fight him and everything, but they have to get this red stone that his egg was under, and try and get to him. And it's just a race to try and do it and help him, but then being fearful that he might blow himself up, which I like, because one of the kids who saw Gamera years ago blow up is the dad.
Yeah.
And the characterization is all really damn good.
Yeah.
Go ahead, I've been summarizing. You go ahead.
Like, the first time when Zedus appears and starts to, like, wreck the school, we were just, like, on our seats, because it's just like,
one of the kids,
Katsuya, we don't want you to get eaten.
And then to the point where you think Katsuya got eaten, you're like, oh God! We were like, oh God! And then he was fine, but you were like, oh, thank God!
Yeah.
And then, as it goes on, you feel for these kids, because they felt real. These were not some annoying Gamera kids or anything like that.
They've acted like normal kids would. Like, oh, hey, you have this cool turtle. Ooh, can we see the cool turtle? And
it's like,
give them a secret.
Yeah, or of course, this thing could be bad. I don't want you to get in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
But then, as it goes on, now he gives the stone, not knowing what it is, to Mai as a good luck for her surgery. I love it. He's like, oh, it's nothing. I guess Toto, he didn't know. It's like, he's a baby, kid.
You really expect a baby to know all of the particulars of his powers? I mean, that's kind of one of the points of the movie.
Exactly. But then because that's before things went to hell.
Mm-hmm.
But then as it goes on, it escalates. The action is good. And when they get to Kyoto, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Kyoto, that's where the big finale takes place. And it's a matter of trying to get the red stone to Mai, and from Mai to Toto. And she's saying, get it to Toto, but by the time they get to the hospital where she's at, they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
And by that point, the dad catches up with them, and then it's like, no, and the first thing he does is slap him, but for good reason. It's like, there's this big thing going on, and he doesn't know about the connection with Mai. He just found out about the connection with Toto. He just thinks he's a Gamera, he's not Toto. I mean, everything about it, like, he doesn't want his son to get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all understandable. Heck, we have some scientists and government officials who think, oh no, they're gonna make things worse, and then they're like, no, they're trying to help.
Mm-hmm.
Then granted, at the very end, then they become a bit of a, like, we must capture Gamera, but it's like, what do you expect?
Yeah.
But then comes the most adorable part. The whole Gamera is a savior of children, they flip it.
Now, the children are the savior of Gamera because it's a relay race with the red stone with kids all throughout the city to get the stone from Mai to Toru and then to Toto.
Exactly, and it is so... Because at first you're like, okay, who's this kid? She came out of nowhere and is gonna run it down. But once she's stuck and another kid grabbed her, I'm like, oh, of course. And at the very end, after they stop Zedus, who, I'll be honest, is a stock monster, let's be honest, but it was still, he was menacing, he was ruthless, he wasn't all powerful, but given how weak Toto was...
He didn't need to be. He was like the first starter villain of an anime, really.
Exactly, but the one that still puts you through your pacing and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, that's goal. And once he's defeated, like I said, the government want to take him, all of the kids line up and tell Toto, get out of here!
Yeah.
And Toto looks so adorable.
Yes, the whole way through.
Yep, this whole movie, he was nothing but adorable. And again, this whole thing, it felt like a nice love letter.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, we're not going to talk about anywhere else. I showed her the 50th anniversary 4-minute short, of which the director says The Brave was one of his favorites. And it showed. What did you think of that short?
I thought that short was pretty cool. It's just kind of showing hey,
we could do this.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt like a nice amalgamation of everything. I mean, it was more Heisei era than it was The Brave, but
mm-hmm.
Again, I mean, okay, now after seeing the Heisei and then seeing this, where would this stand like overall? Where would it rank compared to Legion?
Legion is still the best one. I'd say that it's maybe slightly below the original.
Guardian of the Universe?
Yeah.
Yep, but still definitely above Iris. Again, I reiterate, nothing against Iris, but I would give this an 8.
Yeah, an 8. A good solid 8.
So you have Legion at 10, Guardian of the Universe at 9, this one an 8, and Ira's a 7.
It was kind of like getting your favorite dish, but from a different restaurant.
Exactly. It's like you basically, the type of food you like say, spinach pie, you would get from Olga's, but then you get from somewhere else, and, well, there's a good chance it might not be as good. If it was just as good, you're like, So, we're done with our Gamera watch, and, well, overall, what would you say about was Gamera, now that you've seen 4 of his movies?
I don't know, I think I might be a fan now.
Well, you've seen the bulk of it, you just haven't seen the other, 8.
I guess I'll just have to look into it a bit more now.
Yep, and who knows, I might review the other ones, maybe not, but overall though, yeah, I am so glad. These were my first time watching these ones too, and it was so worth it. And, but one other thing, the dub on this one was probably weaker than for the Heisei era, Heisei era, wouldn't you agree? I mean, the acting was fine, but the lip syncing it felt very 60s, you know, the whole like, hey, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But overall, though, this was a great send-off, and it's unfortunate it bombed. It really is.
It is a good movie, it just seems to have been a victim of unfortunate market circumstances.
Yeah, it came out right after Godzilla Final Wars, which also didn't do so well. And I think going with a more Showa through a Heisei filter was not what people wanted. Oh, our biggest gripe. They did not have the traditional roar. They had a bunch of stock sounds that were right from King Kong.
Yeah, that kind of took you out of it a little bit.
Yeah, especially once we saw the 50th anniversary show. It's like, yeah, hearing that voice, but hearing the roar, it's like, no, it's like, it's what we want, not a guttural roar. So, yeah, that's Gamera for us. That ends our Gamera marathon. So, yeah, no idea what we'll be doing going forward. When's the next time she and I are going to meet up and see another movie? Who knows? Probably going to be, we might see the other 8. Probably going to take a couple of days to do that. But until then, I'll catch you guys later.